Mr. Mayor House. How you
What's happening?
doing? Not
How's
much.
everybody?
Everybody's good. How are you,
Mayor
sir?
House, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Just Jason. We go
Okay.
back too long.
You know I like to call you Mayor House so I can piss other people off. That's just me.
Yeah.
You can tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's
And
all
my
good. And
audience too. I know we're sharing this video, so you
of
can
course,
let
it's all
everybody
good.
know.
Well, thank you for joining. And of course, it's Osu. A lot of people mess up that, but it's all
I
good.
do.
That's
I'm sorry.
we
And
all that's the story of my life, so it's all good. But
yeah. And I was HR for so many years, and I used to hate that. I'd be like, how do you pronounce this name? But okay.
But
Osu.
thank you so much for joining us, Jason. Thank you for joining Crucial Combo Podcast, your favorite Survivor channel. We just so happy that you were able to join us and take some time and joining us tonight. So, how are you this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a campaign season, so busy days, but it's rewarding.
Absolutely.
It's probably the best time, and you talk to people all throughout your term as an elected official, but the campaign season, of course, is just necessitates gearing it up, and then you get a chance to talk to more people, and you get to learn what you've done good. You're going to hear about what you didn't do good, and
Yes.
that's the best check and balance that you're going to get in the system. So sometimes the system is not pretty, but it does work if you work it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, it's par for the course. Par for the course.
Yes.
Well, I mean, like I said, thank you so much for joining us. One of the things we wanted to talk about with you, obviously, it's been a tumultuous and busy, controversial 4 years. If those are all the words I can put together to describe the 4 years. I'm sure there's many more you
Right.
put in there, but I know you're very busy and getting ready to gear up, obviously for this election. What would you say what's your platform going forward? I know a lot of the residents already know you, but what would you say your platform is going into the first 90 days if elected? I mean, what are the things you want to kind of tackle?
Our five platform points that we're talking about, one being changing the narrative of Dalton, two, financial stability, three, public safety, four, economic development, and the fifth one is improving on our infrastructure. And those are in no particular order, with the exception of the first one, which is changing the narrative around Dalton, which we feel like is very critical because Dalton, we actually have a history or a culture for the last, I would say, at least 12 years of just the back and forth fight. And the residents have said repeatedly, time and time again, I'm tired. I'm tired of sitting there watching the mayor fight the board fight the mayor. And we really want to stop that because the dissension comes from the head. And then
Right.
it trickles its way into the employees, which then trickles into the community because everybody feels like I got to pick a side, one versus
Right.
the other. Now, I recognize that I've been a board member for 8 years, so I've witnessed firsthand, and a lot of my demeanor is recognizing that the residents don't want that fight, and yet somehow you find people being drawn into that fight. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of the reason why my posture is what it is and how it is, because I do recognize that. I take ownership for any part that I've played in there because, once you're on the board, you have to take some stances, and other cases you have to, you got to pick your battles. So, but what
And you're dealing with somebody that's very tough to actually communicate with. So we understand the battles that you're picking, and you're doing an excellent job doing it.
and not only pick your battle, but I mean that they're trying to draw you and bait you into that
Yeah.
argument, and that all sets up with the you see the setup just with the agenda. And I know for Liv, I know you've been
Too
watching
many
it.
times.
As soon as we see the agenda, you can tell where the argument is coming from, where it's not. Responsible governments, they'll set an agenda that they've already discussed kind of beforehand, agreed to,
Right.
go in there, make your votes, and you go home. Here, it's
Stick to
all
the agenda for 1 second. Now,
yeah.
tell people exactly what happens when you guys receive the agenda. How much time do you guys have to look it over? And then when you guys actually come to the meetings, why do you guys take certain things out of the agenda? Can you make that clear? Because I
Good
get a lot of
questions.
people that question
At
that, and a lot of people don't understand when you say agenda. Because I'm not trying to cut you off, but I just want you to explain to all of the viewers, when do you get the agenda items for the most part? What be on the agendas that you actually take off that you are not approving to pay, and when you actually see the warrant list, are those always bills that she's already paid and then she's trying to get you guys to double bill? Like, can you explain to everybody what's going
Yeah.
on with the agenda items?
So at the peak of the back and forth debate, the agendas in the when it's functioning right, the agenda should be posted the Thursday before the board meeting. Board meetings on Monday. We should have it posted that Thursday evening, and with the whole packet, so that way the board will get Friday through the weekend and Monday to review the items, ask questions, and everything else.
Who's allowed to put items on the agenda?
By
Just so we
ordinance,
all know.
the mayor, the trustees, the clerk, any elected officials are able to put things on the agenda. That's by ordinance. In Dalton, what was happening is the mayor
Okay.
and the mayor would direct and it would direct people to withhold putting things on the agenda, which again would come into the fight. So there was meeting after meeting after meeting where you would hear say, "Why are my things not on the agenda? You wouldn't allow us to," and that's because there was a hijacking of the agenda. In recent months, we've been successful in court with getting the court to agree that the clerk is actually the person that's supposed to create the agenda and post it. So if you'll notice over the last 3 months, you haven't seen those issues
Right.
because we finally got a cure. But when we were going at probably the height of all of the fighting, and I hope that was the height because I would hate to think it could get worse. In those moments, it was more just a refusal to put things on the agenda. The agenda was set up to create the fight that you see, and it was done for grandstanding, really, to try to.
Right.
It was put things on there and to try to either bash the board members into giving into what she was looking for, or to try to demonstrate to people, well, see, I'm trying to give you guys all these great things, and look who's stopping it. I think
Right.
that's probably
So what?
yeah.
So the items that you guys were stopping, and I'm gonna give you a chance, but the items that you guys were trying to stop that were on the agenda, were those items that the mayor elect really wanted for the village, or were those items that she was just trying to approve, and that way she can overinflate the budget and keep some of that money? I'm just trying to understand, because I have a lot of seniors that have asked me, like, why won't they just pay the bills? Why won't they do this? Why won't they do that? But they don't understand. And just from me looking on the outside looking in, like the tree removal companies and the overinflated bills behind all of the trees that were removed. Now I understand because they remove trees on our block, but it looks like the amount of money or the cost for that labor does not add up to the actual trees that was removed. So can you explain to your community, like exactly how those bills went and the reason why you guys didn't decide to pay them?
The bills that we would decide to pay, we first want to look at our budget and see if the items that are being put on there are consistent with our budget. So you mentioned the tree company, and I think that's a very good one because on the surface, it seems like a good thing for the community. We're going to cut down the trees, get things out the way that shouldn't be there. But if we budgeted $400,000 or $500,000 for tree cutting, and we see on there that you have $1.2 million worth of trees being cut, suddenly a good thing went to something that we can't afford.
Right.
And if we notice it, that doesn't mean that we don't address it. I mean, if we realize the community needs $1.2 million worth of trees, we need to go back, adjust our budget, cut some expenses somewhere else so that we can reallocate that money. That's the proper way to do it. Here,
Okay.
it was just rammed. It was just given to us. We didn't get a chance to review everything, and it looked suspicious. Like at what point,
Right.
if historically we are able to manage with $300,000, $400,000 worth of trees getting cut, and now all of a sudden it's 1.2. that raises a red flag. That raises more questions. Then you get
Huge red flag.
then you get the invoices, and it says, oh well, this month we trimmed the tree, and then the next month we cut the whole tree down. Well, why would you do that? You know,
I'm
so
sorry.
that
What?
but that's really kind
So they
of,
were trimming trees and then coming back
yeah,
and getting a
it
double
doesn't,
dipping and cutting them
yeah.
down.
So when we look at why things were done, and they have, with Trustee Ed Steve would talk about, I think his wording is best. Quick li- she'll tell quick lies, and quick lies versus a complicated truth, because they mean that story is real easy to say. Oh, I'm trying to cut your trees down, and they're trying to stop it. It seems real easy, and now the board side of it makes us seem like obstructionists at that point in time, right? Why don't you want to give the people the streets? Why don't you want to give them that? And when I come back and say we can't afford it, it's kind of like the parent, like of course you want to give your kids every gift that they can for Christmas, but we know you got a budget. You have to stay within that budget, and you have to do
Hello.
the best way you know how. There was a $50,000 to rent a Christmas tree that first year.
I saw
I
that. I
mean,
remember that.
it's
I was in the
yeah.
hospital, but it was
So
ridiculous.
yeah, that was proposed to the board, and the minute we said no, we're not going for that. Shame on you. You don't even want to give the kids Christmas. You know, it's those really quick points that is a seductive, dangling it in front of the people's face, and then baiting it into trying to make it appear as if the other board members don't want to benefit the community, which is the furthest thing from the truth. The reality is that we have to live within a budget,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
if we
Absolutely.
really wanted to work together, those arguments and those fights don't happen publicly.
No.
That discussion would
And
happen.
not to that degree.
Yeah,
It's been so embarrassing. And it's not even on you guys' part. It's just been embarrassing just to watch this act and see that it's still 4 years later, she's still doing the same thing.
Even people watching from the outside, like people who don't live in Dalton, I think, because the board meetings, many people tune in. I've tuned in. Many people around the world or country have tuned in just to watch it and say objectively, what's going on here? Because the mayor was saying one thing, and then you guys as trustees are saying another thing. And if you look objectively, you say to yourself, okay, obviously somebody's wrong, because it's not even like it's polar opposite as far as what's being said. And when you listen to the information, and objectively, people who are objective are going to say, well, what information is being told at the meeting? And I think that's the main thing, is that, is it in budget? Is it not in budget? And I think anybody with common sense would say, okay, these trustees are fighting against something that is way out of budget. Now, I know me and Vivian talked about this before, and I wanted to also reiterate the fact that you all as trustees came in and you guys were not all seeing eye to eye on everything initially. But did it come to a point where, with the mayor, with what was going on, did you guys have to tighten up a little bit more almost immediately? Or was it something that kind of evolved over time?
I would say both, but it felt virtually like it was an immediate thing, because it happened so quickly. But when you go to the first 3 or 4 meeting agendas, those agendas were loaded with at least 20 or more action items. So when you go in there, you get 20 action items, and out of the 20, the board might have been favorable to 10 of them. There were 10 that had many more questions to be asked that didn't fully get flushed out, and those other 10 probably could have been talked through if there was an intention to have synergy. But the desire quickly started to be shown that issues that we didn't agree or wanted more information was going to be met with a nasty attitude and just kind of rudeness, just from us asking the questions that is our
Right.
job. So it happened pretty quickly, but that wasn't the intention. It became a reality.
Well, I know that Andrew Holmes was on her side at all times, but when you guys tried to like talk to him and bring everything to his attention, what was his response? Like, I was always curious about that. Like, did he ever care to try and even help make things right, or he just never really budged to listen to you guys?
His his response, he's always been very minimal with his words, and he's always kind of tried played the more by vote. He's always voted with her,
Right,
so we see that.
historically.
But you'll also notice verbally he's not he has never really been extremely outspoken. From time to time, he may step up to try to make a statement. But in general, if you go back and look at most of those meetings, he really has showed up, went to cast a vote, and not really been extremely engaging. And even behind the scenes, it's been similar to what you see in the board
Okay.
meetings.
Now you can ask your question. I'm sorry.
Now, when you guys were thrust into the spotlight, you the trustees, you guys have become somewhat of superheroes now, being thrust into the spotlight. Um, Now, going forward, I know Dalton has had a lot of issues as far as businesses. So obviously, in any town, you need businesses, and businesses leaving is always a bad thing. Whether they're shutting down or leaving or whatever the case is, it's always a bad thing. And I know, obviously, one of your highlights of your platform is to get businesses to come back. So, is there any issue with the regulatory procedures that you have to modify going in as when you become mayor, or is there something that, or is it already there for businesses to come in and it just wasn't being followed?
We have to reintroduce what we had previously, and when I say previously, in 2021 and prior, there was a streamlined process that worked pretty well. Getting a business license issue in Dalton was never a challenge prior to this administration. You come in, you fill out your paperwork. 2 to 3 days later, you got your license, assuming that you passed your inspections and you are running the business appropriately. In
Okay.
this administration, I really don't know what changed. I don't know why. I know we started getting phone calls from business owners that would say, it's been 6 months. I'm going in there every day. Nobody will respond. And when I would call in as a trustee, oh no, we revised the process. We're getting a new software and a lot of things that didn't work to the benefit of the business owner. So I guess to your question, there's a process that we have individuals. One of our former running mates, Samisha Williams, that ran for trustee in 2023, was actually over that process. Knows it very well. She's a Dalton resident, very highly engaged, more than willing to help out and lend a hand. So we have individuals that can do it. Carmen Carlisle, the trustee in Thornton Township, is also extremely knowledgeable of that process too, and being able to implement it. So we can become business
Right.
friendly very quickly with it just by implementing the past practices that we know have worked.
Let me ask you this one more, and it's just about the business license. Okay, so like when the Dayton game closed, from what I heard, they own that liquor license for the establishment. So even if the owner wasn't running it, if somebody else bought it, they would have to buy the liquor license from her. Is that how it works in Dalton, or am I misunderstanding that process?
I can't speak to that one with that level of
Okay,
specificity. That's one that we would
legal.
bring in our village attorneys, make sure that they followed the process.
Well, Jason, just to piggyback on that question too, as far as the business is, so to bring in new business, is there thought of giving more tax abatements? Do you think that's something that'll be very much needed to bring in more business, or not so much, kind of on a case by case basis, or?
Each business is unique, because you want to look at the type of business. Is it a business that you want in the community? What is their financial ability to bring sales tax revenue into the community? What's their ability to? How many people can they employ? We really want to look at community benefit agreements to have with the business owners that incentivize those to give discounts to the residents of the community and to hire within the community. So it's not a blanket, this is what we're going to do. We want to go out and look at the existing businesses that we have and talk to them about ways that they can expand and how the village can contribute to that. We want to look at the new businesses and the areas that and identify high traffic areas that we can get retail stops, and then other areas that may not have as much traffic. What kind of business would be more suitable for that? Is that a manufacturing
Okay.
plant? So there has to be a very specific plan. And back in 2013, that we actually did a comprehensive a comprehensive village plan. One resident reminded me of that just 2 or 3 days ago, but I'm very aware of it. And while that was 2013, so it's 12 years ago, I'm sure all things in there would not be applicable. However, I'm sure there is still some knowledge in that plan that would apply to the village moving
And
forward.
was it created by government or by the residents? Like, how was that created?
It was initiated. That was one of the programs that the former mayor introduced. They got stakeholders from the community, business owners from the community, had universities come
Okay.
out and use their best practices. So I believe it was about a 6-month process in putting a comprehensive plan together.
Okay.
Very thorough, kind of costly, but
But is it something that you can just restructure, or would it be costly to do another one? I guess that's probably what my question is, just for the residents to know. Like, is that something that you guys are looking into redoing, or are you just going to take what's in there and then just try and come up with your own comprehensive plan?
we'll review it, see which parts we think are effective to be
Mm-hmm.
implemented, and then the parts that may seem a little bit outdated, we'll
Okay.
disregard. But yeah, there will definitely be a brain trust of people trying to figure out which ways we can break things out, and we'll break it out by committees to make sure that the committees can actually implement the items that we're looking to move forward.
Now, Jason, obviously there is large deficits from the misspending. Going in, I know you've mentioned this before about the job that the next mayor is going to have going in, right? So, what are some of the things that, as far as generating revenue to fill in those holes, what are some of the first things that you would say, things that you might either liquidate or things to generate income? Obviously, it's going to be cuts, right? Things like the security detail, things we never saw in a town of
He
20,000
shouldn't need
people.
none.
So, but what are some like major cuts and or revenue generating things would you say are kind of top of the list coming in those first 60, 90 days, you would say off the bat, just for residents to understand?
Well, I would first say I think you've done very well because you've already hit on the the low hanging fruit,
Right.
and you took that off the table for me because the inefficiencies in government are the biggest key, and I think that's a way that we get down to the bottom line. In terms of revenue generation, there are partnerships that we feel that we've already formed with some state legislators, with county officials that can provide some grants. Additionally, the economic development component that we talked about is going to be
Yeah.
critical, and I mean very critical to get retail driven businesses, because those retail driven businesses also generate sales tax revenue that can come back into the village of Dalton as well. And then getting those businesses back active and on the tax roll will be another tax base, because every time if you see an abandoned business in our community, more likely than not, that's also property tax revenue that we're not getting.
Absolutely.
So the economic development component of it is so critical to making sure that we're able to maximize on the revenue. And if we can get the property tax values leveled off and maybe even decreased, we might be able to collect more, because as property taxes go up, our collection rates go down. So we can't just keep on saying, well, we're just going to raise taxes. I mean, at a certain point, people are going to say, I can't afford it. And raising taxes will have a counter effect to your bottom line.
Right. And what about the
Sure.
businesses that Tiffany has been erase that? Let me start that question again. What about the businesses that the mayor-elect have failed to give their license to that are taking her to litigation? Once you, because we're going to just call it how it is, once you come into office, um, in your first 6 months, you'll have people that are probably going to reapply for their business license, the ones that were denied. So, like, do you plan on making them a priority before you work with other business owners, or like, how does that process look for you guys?
Yeah, God willing, when that day comes, we I would say that I feel that this is a challenge that the board has actually already worked to
Okay,
remedy. So when you look at some of the previous board meetings, you've seen that the board has implemented an ordinance that says that the board is allowed to take a majority vote and issue the business
right,
licenses. We've also been able to now partner with some of the employees that have been receptive to change, or receptive to, or feel comforted that their job is
right.
protected. So the business licenses being issued has become much less of a
Okay,
problem in the last 3 months than it had been previously. We passed the ordinance of Mayor Pro Tem, which allows for myself to sign off on documents if the mayor refuses to move forward on an initiative that the board has properly approved. So it gives us some legal standing to move things forward. So I don't anticipate the backlog
okay,
to be very intense because of efforts that we've already taken. I always pause because I get the benefit of being the senior trustee, or maybe kind of being the sometimes
mm-hmm.
spokesperson. So I got to give appreciation to my colleagues on the
Absolutely,
board for any trust that they have in me speaking, as I talk about, of course, Trustee Tammy Brown, Trustee Brittany Norwood, Trustee Kiana Belcher, former trustee, so he doesn't have voting rights right now, but still is part of the
yes,
team, is Edward Steve, Clerk Allison
yeah,
Key.
the best clerk
And
ever,
so what right, and when we talk about
and Eris,
initiatives
don't
that
forget her.
deputy
Yes,
clerk, oh man, there's so many powerful people.
yes,
So when I talk about what we are doing, or things that we've been able to put in place, and the teamwork that we've shown, I think that's what's going to demonstrate that we really can change the culture, because people see how we work together in board meetings when one individual is not
Woosah.
present. You can see the difference
I pray
night
for
and
you
day.
guys all
You
the
see the
time.
ability for, yeah, and you see the agendas are,
It's set up.
we're five individuals. You know that, of course, we don't always agree with one
No.
another, but we understand, we recognize the things that we're ready to move forward at one point in
Hmm.
time, and the things that we're not ready to, we don't have a full agreement. We don't present that in front of the
As you should
community.
not.
Right.
And the business licenses moving forward, that's just one initiative that I think we've done collectively to make sure, to demonstrate that we're willing to work together. We're already taking items. I mean, we talked about our platform, the 5 points that I mentioned. But if you listen to a lot of campaigns, most of the things I've said, everybody says they're going to do.
Right.
I think that not only are we talking about it, but I can point to different moments, this with the business license, where we're actually demonstrating today, this is what we
Yeah.
are doing, and we can only be
The
better
fire department, you
with more
guys
support.
got their contract done when the current elect mayor couldn't fulfill their obligations. I actually spoke with, it's funny, I did a CPR class with the fire department. I don't know if you know that, but
No, I
yeah,
didn't.
and I spoke with them, and they were praising you guys to all high. Like, they were so excited that the contract finally got approved, and it didn't take you guys long to get in there and do the work for the firefighters. Now, I heard that she took them to court to try and actually amend it and take it away, which is sad, because why would you want to do that to the people that are pretty much our first line of defense? Like, anything happens, they're the first responders. And we need the firefighters in our neighborhood, in our community. And for you to just try and undo something because you didn't do it, That is just, it's embarrassing because their families don't deserve it. And they definitely didn't deserve it. So I give you guys the biggest kudos, the biggest utmost respect, applause, because you guys got, and they were so happy that you guys were able to do that. Now let me ask you one question. The bank account, right? So I know that you guys got a new bank account. Now, is it as good as the other one, or will you guys try and switch back once she's out of office?
I think that, well, it's as good as the other one. As surprising as it may sound, changing the account, Dalton has over 20 bank accounts. For separated, to separate funds, you got TIF funds, MSP funds, the clerk's account, general operating accounts. So there's more than 20 different accounts. You got direct deposits going into some of those accounts. You got automatic payments coming out of some of those accounts. That process is actually just nearing its conclusion, and that's been about a 4 or 5 month process to get the account switched over to make sure that we do it in a way that we don't miss out on any of the money that's supposed to be coming in, and that the payments coming out have been done or have also been notified so that nobody bounces back that unintentionally. So that the new bank, we are grateful for them taking us on, because with all of the media attention, Dalton, things that seem like it would be normal, Dalton does not become the most desirable or municipality to do business with. So we're grateful to them. The services seem extremely comparable to the previous bank. And so, it's just one of those things we have to do to move forward.
If there are some critics, obviously, right? So some critics say, well, you guys ran on the previous mayor's ticket. I think that, or not previous, but the current mayor's ticket. I think objectively, people would say, okay, when you vote someone in, you don't know what they're going to do. So obviously, when you guys got in a couple years ago, you didn't see what was coming. My question is in regards to that is, when did you come to the point where you decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and run? Because I think a lot of people who watched the meeting, whether they're residents or non-residents, I think most people said, and maybe this is just me, I think most people said this guy should be the mayor. This guy Jason should be the mayor. Not only the way you carry yourself, but I think for me what stood out was more how you stuck to the actual business. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I saw, is that being able to stick to the actual business and not getting thrown off, because there's always drama and emotion versus the logical and the business. So at what point did you decide that, I'm going to go ahead and run and do this? I mean, was it immediate or just kind of evolve?
Yeah, it definitely evolved. Your comments are well received and flattering, so I want to say I appreciate it. And I would say, as we hit a little bit after 23, when we had the trustee election, that's when collectively our team of trustees started trying to decide which direction we were going to go for in terms of mayor. And again, I get to give due credit to our team. We have a team full of individuals that have resumes that can be mayor. Uh, Tammy Brown has a background in human resources and business development. Brittany Norwood with real estate, energy, the way she works with the youth. Kiana Belcher's background in finance as well as with the police department. Ed Steve's background with communications and his ability to get the word out. Clerk Allison Key's professionalism and her policy. So there's a team of people that, by resume alone, could all individually run for mayor and be extremely successful. So um, when we talk about running, the group of us coming together and deciding that it's in the community's best interest for one of us to push our agenda forward and to be selected as the one. I work hard all the time to make sure that my colleagues know that they made the right decisions. So I'm constantly working on How do I prove to my colleagues all in the community that we're going to earn the support, earn the trust, and do the right things?
When you made that choice to become mayor, was it like a vote on, okay, did anybody else throw their name in the hat, or it's just like, we know it's going to be Jason?
It wasn't there wasn't a formal process. It is like family conversations that you have
Okay.
over time. You know how it's like, okay, well, we got to do something different. How should that go? So, and over discussion and over time, over the period of time, um, the team showed more support. Was showing support for me
And
moving forward.
you're an excellent choice. So I'm glad that you decided to run. But I just wanted to know that I was answer like, was there anybody else name in the hat? Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think it seemed obvious, and I think most people who were watching this saying, I hope he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna run. You know, now, did you guys feel a lot of pressure? Did you feel intense pressure as far as once Dalton started to get more and more and more in the media and everybody was talking about it? How did that feel as far as the pressure?
For one, I'm not that. I'm really not that flashy.
Right. You're not.
And my decision recently to do a handful of interviews was because it is election season and people deserve to know the person that's running for mayor. What's the platform? What are we going to address? But I've been very specific with trying to make sure I can get the word out, and at the same time holding true to not being the person that's always in front of the cameras. That's just
You know
not
what?
me.
That's the perfect segue. So remember when you said that people want to get to know the person, right? We just want to ask you a couple personal questions just about Jason House, the man, not the mayor.
Yeah, we just want just like one more
Yeah,
hour, and that's
no,
it.
no, we're not gonna take all your time. But no, we wanted to get
Just joking.
into Jason House as the man. I just wanted to ask you, can you explain to everybody where you come from, your parents, your siblings, your education? Like, let us know about Jason House, the person.
I moved to Dalton in third grade.
Uh-huh.
So I spent most of my life in Dalton. Went from third grade into a few years into high school, transferred away, ultimately ended up going to University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, graduated, and then bought my first home back
So
in
what
Dalton.
what what college did you go to? I'm sorry.
University
Okay.
of Illinois,
All right.
Champaign-Urbana.
And what did you get your bachelor's degree?
Bachelor's degree in
Okay.
marketing.
Okay.
So that's a little bit of my background. Parents were divorced.
Okay. I remember your father. I met
My
your mom and your dad. How are they?
Yes, yes, yeah. Both are doing
Okay.
well. My mom is honestly my biggest
She is.
supporter. That's my heart. Love her to death. And I think I'm probably extremely blessed to for that to be my mom. I mean the patience that she shows and the way that she cares for us as family, for her church community. I really think the biggest honor that I always tell people the biggest honor I could ever have is being Janice's son.
That's awesome.
So we can take titles and throw them out the window. That's why I don't think about, okay, well, Jason, trustee this or mayor that, because yeah, I've already gotten the best title that I can ever get. So everything else can be stripped. You can't take that from me. So I think that's
And
me.
siblings.
If you want to talk about.
Let's talk about your sister. You know I love your sister too. I haven't seen her in a while, but let everybody know about the siblings that you do have.
Oh yeah, well my sister also extremely amazing. Of course, grew up Thornton product, and she's also one of the strongest people that you would know. She's been living with MS now for more than 20
Okay.
years, and really thriving. Amazing host, great personality, sarcastic, witty. Get on your nerves. I'll tell you that sometimes. But amazing sister. My brother has recently moved to Atlanta, married. His amazing new wife, but she's been part of the family for many
Okay.
years. So, and I think they just purchased their first home.
Oh, congratulations.
I haven't had a chance to get down there, but once this once this election's over with, they're not gonna keep me away from it.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
Yeah, and a host of nieces, nephews, godchildren. So yeah.
So are you a big family guy? Like, do you guys all get together for the holidays and hang out? Is that like an every year routine?
Yeah, we definitely have our every year routine. With my brother moving to Atlanta, that kind of put more of a strain on our ability to have the holidays the way we're used to. I think we're having new holiday traditions, or we are developing those now. Because when you're a kid, it's Christmas. Everybody's racing to get to the tree, and now we got the nieces and nephews that come, but it's a different experience. Okay. But yeah, we definitely stay in regular communication.
Okay.
Well, Jason, let me ask you, why is Dalton a special place for you? Because and I ask that because I grew up there too, and mm-hmm. For me, I don't know what it is. I can't explain what it is. I grew up there, and I moved to New Jersey as an adult, but I lived in Dalton most of my life and lived in Riverdale for a little while. And I don't know, there's something special about Dalton. So, I mean, what's special about Dalton for you? You said you went to college, you went away, you came back. What is it special to draw you back?
I was so interested in leaning in as you were talking to how you described it. It feels like home. Like it's just, there's the memories. I remember walking up and down this street, going to school. I remember coming down Sibley and the restaurants that were there, and Venture being there. I remember.
My God, yes.
Venture, I think I got my first bike from Venture.
So everybody remember Ventures. Remember the pool that we had in Dalton?
Right down Greenwood Avenue.
Yeah,
and the pool. Yeah,
remember the Dollar Theater?
Yeah. That was over there. I used to go on dates there.
I saw so many movies at that Dollar Theater for the first time. I saw Top Gun for the first time, and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm-hmm.
And,
see, that's it. You can remember
Police Academy.
I all about the theater in Dalton. Would we ever be able to bring that back?
The swimming pool on Greenwood. You remember the swimming pool on Greenwood?
I remember going swimming out there.
Oh yeah.
But would you guys ever bring the theater back? Would that be an option? Like if someone wanted to invest in Dalton and bring a movie theater back to Dalton, like a dollar movie or something like that? Would that be? Okay.
Absolutely.
I was just throwing it out there in case somebody wanted to.
Absolutely. I remember when it first became a nightclub, thinking that feels wrong. We watch movies there, that feels wrong.
That theater, your feet would stick to the floor.
You know how many dates I went on at that movie theater? And it was like $1.75 a movie or something like that. It was so reasonable back in the days, and it used to be so fun because everybody used to go to that movie theater.
Yeah, so I mean that's really it. It just feels like home. It feels right. You just feel called to be there and be part of the community, and then to getting into my 20s and get the opportunity not only to live in Dalton, but through the bank, they gave me the opportunity to manage that branch at home and connect more with a lot of residents. So, it's just the energy.
Are your parents still in Dalton?
I feel that.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Well, Jason, I got to ask you this too. So, I've been wondering, because you don't forget a name like Jason House. I need to know, did you play baseball? Did you play in Dalton Riverdale Little League as a kid?
Absolutely. I got a trophy. I got a trophy to this day.
And you used to be a pitcher, weren't you?
Absolutely. I played for Riverdale Bank.
Played with you guys as well.
Riverdale Bank.
Remember
I knew
Corey?
it. Cool. I knew it.
Corey played for Acme Steel.
Okay.
You remember Roderick?
Right. Oh my God, you bring back memories.
All these names are coming back.
Yeah, Roderick.
Now I'm Osu. I used to play for Brown's Funeral Home.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So I played against you.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, no, you guys were rough.
Oh yeah. We won the World Series in '89.
Oh,
one of my best.
I remember.
Okay.
My best memory.
What grade were you in '89?
Yeah, you guys were deep.
What's that? Yeah.
You telling our age now? That's what we're doing.
Okay, that's what I was
Fifth
thinking. I
grade.
just want to make
We
sure.
telling our age. We're telling our age
I'm
now, huh?
sorry.
That's okay.
Well, I'm okay with my age. I am still here, so y'all know I don't care about y'all now. My age. I'm 46 and happy and proud to be.
That's
I'm here
right.
on the live with two very important people to me. So hey, I'm old.
Uh, yeah, same here, same here. And I was wondering because you grow up and then you kind of move on, and then when I heard your name, I
He
told Viv, I
did.
said, you know what? I played baseball against him. I remember
Absolutely.
because you don't forget Jason House. I
Yeah.
know that name.
He did.
Yeah.
So
Everybody
yep,
that I swear, like I have friends and that know like people that I wouldn't think that know Jason knows Jason. Like Jason knows when I think I know everybody, no. Jason
You
knows
do.
everybody. When I say everybody, everybody. So there's not too many
No,
people
you.
that have that name Jason House that you can't just be like, oh, is that him? No, that's probably him.
right,
And then
absolutely,
you have another
absolutely.
question for him? Because I have one.
Well, please go ahead, and I'll just ask one
Okay,
last one, and then you're
so
done.
when it comes to leadership and being a mayor, your work life balance, and everything else that you do, like, do you have time to like have hobbies or like extracurricular activities? Do you do anything outside of I know campaigning is really stressful for you guys now, so I know that that's what you have to do like 24/7 to make sure that you bring awareness to the community. But like outside of when campaigning is over, like will you get back when you get back to normal life, like what do you do as like a stress reliever or something that the mayor does on his own personal time that you just enjoy doing?
A few different things. Sports. Spend time with
What kind of
family,
sports?
friends and family.
Oh, you still
Basketball,
hoop?
basketball and football.
How have you hoop with my
I
daddy? You
used
know
yes.
Thomas hoops with my dad, right? Did he ever tell you that?
Does he
No.
really? No,
They
no.
hoop
Now
at
Tommy
that
sneaks in
gym
the
over
gym.
there in Indiana.
I'm gonna tell you what about him. He sneaks in the gym and stays in shape. So every time I get back
He
on the
do.
court, he's always got like two steps
He
ahead of
do.
me. And I think, how does this guy do
Listen, I
it?
don't know if
But
you remember when one day he came to my house and my dad came over when I had a barbecue and all of you guys came over. And my dad walked up and they like shook up and everything. And I was like, what the? I said, Daddy, you know my friend.
yeah,
My dad
no,
was like, yeah, that's my boy.
he's
I was like, wait, you hoop with him? He was like, yeah, we hoop all the time at the gym. I
yeah,
was like, why are you out playing basketball? My dad's like 70 something years old. So, you know, he's no spring chicken. And it's
yes,
like, you out here playing with the
yeah,
young
no,
guys? So, yeah.
Staying in shape.
yes, no. Yeah, no. If I get a chance, I will. Basketball, football are my primary. Baseball, of course, we talked about. Still follow, but the higher activity or action
Mm-hmm.
sports kind of got me in. Spending time with family, friends is always a big thing because that's really to me what it's about is and being able to enjoy moments
Absolutely.
um, and help each other. I mean, we've seen each other grow up to God willing, be amazing people and just propel one another and challenge us to be the best versions of ourselves. That's it for me.
Okay.
Well, my last question is I know Dalton is close to all of our hearts, obviously, and many other people's hearts. So I always like to say, and I want to know how you feel about this. I think that the last few years have obviously been stressful for you and the other trustees. Do you think that I think everything happens for a reason? Do you think that this what has happened with Dalton? Do you think that this is a tremendous opportunity for the future of Dalton to come out of where it's come from to rise to a better place, and also the opportunity for people to really reevaluate. I guess this is a political question, quote unquote, but to reevaluate the leadership of your local government and not only be involved, but to also really imagine what Dalton can be. So that's my one part question, and then beyond that, I want to ask, outside of being a mayor, going forward, do you plan on running for any other office later on, or that's just something you're not even kind of thinking about right now?
Well, that's definitely something I'm not thinking about right now. I can say that with complete certainty. That's not in my purview or on my radar. I'm focused completely on the community of Dalton, being a better version of myself as a trustee, as a man, God willing, to grow into an outstanding mayor if God sees fit. I think that this reflectively, when we get a chance to look back at what's happened here, there are some amazing takeaways. I think it's demonstrated a lot to the community as well as the world about politics. It's created a whole new level of interest, and there's a lot of positives that to take from what's going on. Of course, the hurt of other people is what we see is what's right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my mentors says that you can't heal and hurt at the same time, and that's what we're kind of seeing right now is that there's a lot of hurt going on. So we haven't had the moment yet to start healing. And when we do heal, we're going to see how the community and the residents have come together, how individuals from all across this country have taken interest in Dalton and started to care and pour their hearts. And, you got people in California and Georgia and overseas having arguments about what's going on in Dalton. People know
Right.
the Dalton trustees and the Dalton mayor better than they know their local
Absolutely.
elected officials. So
Right.
I think it's incumbent on us to take that energy and maximize it for the benefit of the community and for Dalton, but also for those around the world that have poured into us. So I think there's going to be tremendous opportunities, and it'll be the responsibility of a new administration to make the most of that.
Well, I want to just say one
Mm-hmm.
last thing, Viv, and this is just a statement, and I appreciate you, I appreciate all of you, what you guys have been doing, and I used to tell people when you leave Illinois and you tell people you're from, usually people from Dalton
We
will say I'm
do.
from Chicago, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
We
people don't
do.
know Dalton, right? So now people know Dalton, and they don't know it necessarily for the best thing, but I'm still very proud
Thank
of
you.
Dalton. So I'm so happy that there's an opportunity, to your point, Jason, to turn Dalton into something that people know of in a
Right.
different light. So I look forward to that.
In the next 1 year, like what do you think that you will definitely have done for Dalton? That's like one of your major goals to make sure that you have it accomplished outside of, getting rid of the negativity about Dalton. But like what's one thing for the residents that we should be able to see coming from the mayor that you're going to put wholeheartedly into changing, and just to make sure that we are getting back on track with becoming a surplus and not a deficit.
You'll see transparency. You will see a team approach that's being used. We will reintroduce committees, and the committees will be fully functional.
Okay.
You'll see a board meeting that you can be proud of,
Boring.
and you'll see those committees.
Is that
Yeah,
what they say?
yeah, yeah. That's well, and government's supposed to be boring.
Absolutely.
You don't want to turn to the government and say, "Oh, I want to see reality TV." That's what you that's what you pay MTV VH1 to have that form of
What about
entertainment.
cow meetings? Will you reinstate those right away?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
You'll see people have an opportunity to speak at the board meeting and get answers to their questions. You'll see a lot of government in action. You'll see more transparency with the website and the documentation that's put up on the website.
Okay.
You'll see better communications with the skills that Trustee Edward Steve has to get out to the community and be more engaging. You'll see more youth activities with Trustee Norwood and what she does with the kids. She did what is
Wild and
that?
out.
Wild and
Yeah, I
Out
saw that.
with the youth. Oh my God,
I
that
was
was
so jealous I
amazing.
couldn't make it. Did you go? Well, I'm
Oh
talking about I
yes,
couldn't
yep.
make it.
I
I wasn't
mean,
invited anyway, but I would have snuck up there for that one. But no,
yeah,
that was awesome and
yeah.
amazing,
So
and I'm
you'll see
glad that
more.
she
You'll
can
see more
still
of
do
that.
things at Thornridge despite the climate of what's going on in Dalton right now.
Yeah, I mean, but the same thing you'll see with what Trustee Tammy Brown does, the collaborative efforts with the Park District and the Library Board, and her being kind of the glue between different
Okay.
entities. So
Is she going to
you
stick
will see a
around
lot.
once this election cycle is over and like do another type of role, or is she just going to fade into the background? Do you know her plans?
Well, Trustee Tammy is still elected through 2027. So she's not up
Oh,
for
okay.
reelection until, yeah, this is an off cycle for her. So
So whose
she
seat is
remains a
up?
trustee. The seats that are up are Kiana Belcher, Trustee Brittany Norwood, and myself as
Okay, so
trustees.
Edward technically can fit into your seat. And that makes okay. I'm sorry, I was thinking about it the wrong way. I don't know why I thought Tammy's seat was up. Okay, no, that's
Yeah,
awesome. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. Did that
yes, sir.
answer?
And now one more. So
Oh, okay.
tell us why do we because I was making calls for you guys and I get a lot of people saying that, hey, I don't know enough about Mayor House to make a decision on who I want to vote for. I had one lady that I heard from the lady that was sitting next to me. She called the senior, and the senior said that I verbatim, I'm not lying. She said that I am not voting for anyone that does not take care of me. The lady was like, what do you mean take care of me? She's like, well, the mayor takes care of me, so I'm not voting for anybody that's not going to take care of me. So what do you say to the seniors and to the residents, to the veterans community? Like, the disabled, like, what do you say to everyone that does not know or understand your platform? And when it comes to like the seniors thinking that they're being taken care of for free, like, what do you say in regards to that?
I'd say all information and all feedback is good and necessary for us to come up with the services that the community is looking for. I'm very aware that the seniors deserve and need services that are beneficial to them. So we will make sure that there is money put into the budget to maintain what we currently have in terms of services and enhance it by being more efficient. So I completely understand somebody who wants a government that's doing things that they can visibly see
Right.
benefit from. I think that's a very fair critique and criticism. And I ask those who we may not have crossed paths, give me an opportunity that we can have a conversation and you can make a fair assessment if I can find a way that we can get things done that maintains and improves your quality of life.
Okay. And then for donations, so you have a campaign right now. Campaigns are very, very expensive. I looked them up, and I did not know that you needed that much money in order to successfully run a campaign. That's not to win, that's to successfully run a campaign. So when it comes to donations and when it comes to volunteer status, can you give everyone, and we're going to put it on the screen so it'll be on the screen the whole time during this conversation, but
Absolutely.
can you just reiterate where they can go to get information about your campaign? They can get information about donations, and then where can they come to volunteer if that's what they decide to do?
For volunteering, they can come to our campaign office at 14200 King Drive in Dalton. And we can use all hands on deck. People making phone calls, people that want to come out and knock on the doors with us. We're open the office daily, so from 4 to 7 p.m. during the week. On the weekends, 10 to 8 p.m. We'll be open all day Saturday and Sunday. So for anybody that's interested in supporting, we really, really, we graciously will welcome that. Campaign donations can go to our website, which is votehouse2025.info, and there's a link on there to donate. And if you want to share it, I can give you a link as well on this to donate directly.
Okay, and then I heard Keys say at the tea with the trustees that if residents have any issues or discussions, and like even if it's the whole community, the whole block, and they want to come in and speak with you guys, can you let them know, just touch base a little bit on that so people can know that you guys are being transparent and you are willing to talk to the public? So can you explain a little bit of what she was saying at the tea with the trustees?
Anybody that has questions, we encourage you to come in particular, if you come in on the weekends to 14200 King Drive, our campaign office headquarters, you'll see most, if not all, of the candidates present, available to answer your questions and phone calls. Additionally, throughout the course of the week, if you want to call 708-414-0719, we can respond that way. You go to our website and contact us. Follow the Dalton Trustees YouTube page, Facebook page. You can inbox us through there. Any questions? We just want to be accessible, make sure that that people are informed of what our
Right.
platform is, what we're looking to do, and can make an informed decision. I mean, it is a democracy. People can vote their conscience freely, and we just want the opportunity to present what our direction
Can you
is.
give them the election
And
dates
I
and
think
the information on Lori Lightfoot's report as well, just so they'll know?
election day is Tuesday, February 25th. Early voting will start as soon as February 10th, running through February 24th at Calumet City Library. And there was one
Lori
other thing you
Lightfoot
asked about.
report.
Lori's report. Lori Lightfoot's final report will be Monday, January 27th, 6:30 p.m., Dalton Park District, Lester Long
You
Building.
said what?
The Lester
Okay.
Long
Yes.
Building.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty much all I have. I just wanted to say, and I'll let Wasu end. Osu, sorry, I'll let you end it. However, I just want to say thank you guys so much. From a resident that have been in the community, that have been in the fight for you guys for the last almost 4 years. I am so glad that this is finally coming to an end. This has been embarrassing. It has been stressful, but it has been worth the fight because we are finally almost at the finish line. A lot of people don't understand like what you guys go through when you're at that meetings getting beat up and getting pounded. We see it, and we that's why we beat her up because we don't think that you guys deserve the tongue lashing that you get, so we give it back. And I just want you guys to know, just stay strong in this fight. Kiana, I love her. I love the way that she always have her facts. She have everything lined up. Brittany, she just tells the residents the truth, tell us how it is. Tammy Brown, same thing. They go hard for what is right for the residents. And we just got to stay the course, and we'll be victorious, definitely. What would you like to say?
No, I wanted to say also to Jason, thank you for your time. I know you're busy. I appreciate you, stepping on both of our platforms. And again, I just want to say that Dalton is a special place, and I think that it'll be really great to see, the future of Dalton. And I do appreciate what you said as far as the outsiders.
That
Welcome to
part.
Dalton, because I love that, because that
Yes.
really speaks to the support and the positivity that people feel for Dalton all over the world. So the fact that you said that, I think really
Yeah.
was a big thing, at the last
And
meeting.
let
So
me say
thank you for
this,
that.
on my channel, you have such a big following of people that just are Clean House 2025. We have so
Mm.
many adopted residents of Dalton that follow us and are just sick of the current mayor elect. So, to the adopted residents, what would you like to say?
I would say thank you. I think it was important for us to acknowledge as a community where we are and embrace the feedback that we're getting. So, I mean, my statement is genuinely intention to be appreciative of all the feedback, and that's good and
Right.
critical, because just because it appears more supportive doesn't mean that there's not criticisms, and we need to be open to that. But the reality is that if we're gonna grow as a community, we have to accept that this is a part of Dalton's story. Not only accept it, embrace it,
Mm-hmm.
make the best of it. It's a hell of an
Yeah.
opportunity. But we can't maximize on anything if we're not embracing the moment and being honest with what's going on around
Right.
us. That's the best way for us to move forward. So I think
Well,
that was my thought or
well,
intention.
thank you, Mayor House.
Well,
We appreciate you.
one one very last thing, and I just want to, we touched on this, but I just want to say this. I want to ask this last question kind of to sum it up. Now, a lot of people may say that the current mayor, with all the negativity, that you're the juxtapose to that, right? So, what would be like maybe a line or two just to tell people that it's not just that you're the opposite, but who you are in a nutshell, the difference between you and what's
And
currently
the
running.
you
If
you
you
do
had to
have
just,
a runoff election. Can you explain that process to the voters as well when it comes to Cassandra Hobson Jordan and her platform that she's running on with her trustee? And because you have to beat Tiffany in the primaries. And I'm sorry, let me start that over. You have to beat the mayor elect in the primaries. And then once you beat her in the primaries, then you still have that runoff election in April. Am I right with how I'm explaining it? Can you explain that a little bit as well?
No, that is correct. So, wait, let me come back to the original statement of we are not. We are much more than the opposition. In fact, we are running to show people that there's a vision to run
Mm-hmm.
for. So we feel like we have a great team of people that is completely capable and qualified to move Dalton in the right direction. We are not focused on what has been done only to the extent that we recognize the challenges that we face, what we've been through, and where we have to go. But the reason that I highlight the team so much is because I want to make sure that everybody really recognizes the strengths that we have, what's in front of us, the work that we've been doing, and that there is a bright future for Dalton to really come out of this
Yeah.
thing. So I really encourage people to look at issue by issue what would benefit them, how Dalton can be better, and look at the people that we're talking about and the work that's been done. And I think that the choice is obvious that you're not only voting against something, but there are people to be proud of and move forward with. To the point about the two different elections, there's an election which is the Democratic primary on February 25th, and the victor of that election becomes the Democratic candidate on the ballot in the general election, which is April 1st. So the winner of the Democratic primary would then go on and face the independent candidate who will be there, and the victor of that election will then go on to
Okay.
be the
And
king.
does the mayor have, so the trustees have term limits? Do the mayor have term limits, or the mayor can be the mayor pretty much?
Both have term limits. Two terms is the max.
Okay. All right. All right. So there you have it. Okay.
well, thank you again, Jason. We appreciate your time.